Welcome to FSN Live at the BCS Championship. Live from the Superdome. Here are your hosts, Michael Regai and Joe Germain.
Isn't this an absolutely phenomenal sight? Scarlet and gray in abundance rolling into the Louisiana Superdome in downtown New Orleans. Welcome, everybody. FSN Live, the BCS National Championship Show. This is what you were waiting to see. Buckeye leaves all over the buses carrying Jim Tressel and the Buckeyes to the Louisiana Superdome. Are they prepared? Are they of the mindset to grab their second national championship under Tressel in the last 5 football seasons? Well, you remember 5 years ago, that Jim Tressel hoisting for the world to see, symbolic of a national championship as the Ohio State Buckeyes bested Miami's Hurricanes to win their first national title in 30 years. Delighted to see you, everybody. Welcome to New Orleans. We've got football flavor for you, Ohio State style. Yeah, the Buckeyes, as we said, backed by the Scarlet and Gray Legions, and they're set to go in just a couple of hours. I'm Michael Regai, pleased to be joined by former Ohio State quarterback Joe Germain. And Joe, look, now, it's pretty simple. Preparations are done. All the X's and O's have been put in the box for Ohio State to come out and execute. What about emotionally? What's the mood of this football team? And then can there be a danger of possibly being a little bit too high, a little bit too juiced up?
Well, you know what? I think emotion is going to play a big part in this game. But at the same time, you got to relax and play. You know, the old adage, the hay's in the barn, they've done all the preparation they can do. Now they just got to trust in the work that they've put in and go out and give their best effort and have fun.
As we know, preparation certainly changed under Jim Tressel. The modus operandi this year was not to come down to New Orleans 10 days ahead of time like they did in Phoenix a year ago when they lost to Florida. And to that end, the quarterback now, Todd Beckman. He sat behind Troy Smith. Now he's got an opportunity to go out and win a national championship with plenty of confidence. As we're joined by our Trenny Kusneric. Trenny, what about that confidence factor for Todd Beckman? He struggled a little bit at the end of the season. Where's he coming into this one?
Well, obviously, Michael, you can't get inside anyone's head, but Todd Beckman is saying that he is confident despite struggling toward the end of the year. He threw 3 interceptions against Illinois, and against the game, the win at Michigan. He had completed just 7 of 13 passes for 50 yards, and he also threw an interception, but he said he used the time, that long break between that last game against Michigan to the bowl game, to look at film of every single game he played and fix those mistakes. He says he is ready to go and help lead this team to a national title. We will have more with Todd Beckman later in the show on how he plans on doing just that, but for right now, let's send it over to Jim Day.
Trenny, thank you very much. We're on the fan walk here outside of the Superdome. I've been here since the first. It's been interesting to see the fans trickle into town. You've heard about this being a so-called home game for the LSU Tigers. I can tell you this week the Buckeyes have been very well represented. I can't wait for the stadium to fill up, and let's see what percentage it is, Buckeye fans versus LSU fans. All right, Ohio State fans, you've had a full dosing by now of hearing about SEC speed. In fact, Buckeye fans flat tired of hearing about it. But offensive lineman Kirk Barton took it a whole step further, this underdog thing.
Rocky IV, when he goes to Russia and he gets off the plane and the KGB's with him. Because my favorite scene in that movie is when he's running down the snowy road and they get in the car and they try to follow him, and then he goes off the road and they crash. So I mean, it's probably when I'm running my laps around the city tonight, I'll probably have some people chasing after me with their flags and stuff. But I mean, that's kind of what it's like. I mean, I know it's funny I say that, but you know where you stand when you're in Louisiana, and because they have a lot of they love their Tigers down here. It's very evident, and that's just how it is. It'd be the same way if they had a bowl game in Columbus. But it's a lot of fun being in an environment like this.
Hey, last time I checked, Rocky won that fight in Rocky IV. And coming up later, if you want something to get under your craw further, if you're a Buckeye fan, we're going to talk to the LSU fans and some media from the South. What do they think on the Buckeyes' chances tonight? And I tell you, they don't think it's a very good chance. That's coming up later. But for now, let's go back inside the Superdome. Michael Regai, Joe Germain.
Be that as it may, Kirk Barton, I love the guy. What a throwback football player. I'm thinking he could have played for Woody's boys with Tatum and Stillwagon and Pete Johnson and Kurt in that group. He's just a football player, isn't he?
There's no question about it, and he has been all business, Michael. I was here last year covering the Buckeyes, the 41-14 loss to Florida. The team I covered last year compared to the team I've covered this year, night and day. The Buckeyes are all business. We'll see if it pays off tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy, we appreciate that. We'll check in with Trendy and Jim, a lot more during the course of this hour right here on FSN Live at the BCS National Championship. And don't you move. Joe and I are just getting rolling. When we get back, what about all the hype, huh? Well, this Louisiana State football team, ranked #1 for much of the season. They are an explosive and dangerous bunch. What about, though, Big Ten, SEC, and all that entails? When we get back, we delve into that and more. FSN Live at the BCS National Championship returns in a moment.
We are just a couple of hours away from the showdown. LSU and Ohio State, FSN Ohio live at the BCS National Championship game as we welcome you back live here to New Orleans. Jim Day on the fan walk here just outside of the Superdome. As I said in the first segment, it's been interesting to see how the different fans from each university have plowed into town. First, Ohio State was invading the town, and of course, LSU is less than 100 miles away the campus, so it's kind of a home game. They didn't have to roll into town to the last couple of days, but I tell you what, Bourbon Street, the French Quarter, has been jumping. Now, you've heard many times about the LSU fans, SEC fans thinking, the Big Ten football isn't that much. I went to talk to some LSU fans about the Buckeyes, and I talked to Atlanta Journal-Constitution writer Tony Barnhart. He's Mr. SEC, Mr. College Football, on his thoughts on the Buckeyes.
Big Ten is a fraud.
Not a chance.
It's not even going to be close.
They can't match up to the speed.
I've heard the word fraud too, and but that's the nature of the beast down here in the South. We think we invented football down here, and the fans think they invented football.
Who's going to win the game?
LSU, the Tigers.
Why is that?
Because we're Tigers and we're going to buck them off the field. That's why.
SEC, speed equals championships. That's the way it's going to play out.
Talking about the guy wearing the LSU T-shirt, the guy with that funny hat and all that kind of stuff. He said, Big Ten, no problem.
We're going to buck them off the field.
There's this perception in parts of the Southeastern Conference, which I disagree with, by the way, that the Big Ten teams are kind of slow and they're kind of plodding and can't keep up with the speed, particularly on defense.
Everybody talks about their offensive line. I got two words for their offensive line. One is Glenn, the other is Dorsey.
Go Tigers!
I'm going to give LSU on 14.
What the hell's a nut for a mascot? Have a real mascot like a tiger. What do you think's going to win? Y'all coming all the way up north. This is our home state. Listen to the college, Louisiana State. You're outnumbered and you're outmatched. LSU's going to win by a 2-touchdown deficit. Go Tigers.
Who's going to win the game?
LSU, of course.
LSU's going to win because they freaking rock.
My sense is that it's going to be a close game. I think Ohio State's going to be very motivated to play. And I think they learned a lot from last year's experience out in Glendale, Arizona. I'm giving LSU the edge in the game because they are 65 miles from their campus, and they'll probably have the edge on tickets, and they'll have a chance to get healthy. That's the biggest key of the game, is them being healthy, and I've given them the edge over Ohio State in this game.
National reputation certainly on the line for Ohio State and the Big Ten. If Ohio State fails tonight and fails miserably like last year, then you know the doubters are going to be out in full force. But the numbers suggest it's been pretty even head-to-head, bowl games, and Michigan has fared the best against SEC teams, 4-1, including that impressive win over Florida recently here. And Ohio State, well, you've heard that number by nauseam by now, 0-8 versus the SEC in bowl games. The Buckeyes looking to turn that around. And here's the stat I like. Of the 9 previous BCS National Championship games that have played since the format went in place, 6 have been won by the underdog. See how it plays out. Let's go back inside. Michael Regai.
Just like happened when Ohio State took down Miami as a double-digit dog a few years ago, Jimmy. Hey, I'm glad, too, you didn't let those Tiger fans influence you and turn you into Tiger bait, as they like to say down here.
Oh, there's no way that is going to happen. Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, Buckeye through and through here. No worries there.
That's what we love to hear, Jim Day. Good stuff. We'll check it with you a little bit later on. What he said we get into, though, the LSU offensive side of things. Joe, now this is a very proficient offense, and they started the football season averaging better than 44 points a game, and that only dipped to about 39. But let's start with the quarterbacks, and they go with Les Miles has that duo of Matt Flynn and Ryan Perrilloux. Team numbers suggest they're prolific, Joe, at almost 40 points per game, and they protect the football, too, as you see. One of the best in the nation at valuing with lack of turnovers.
Yeah, they do that, and that's the key to winning games is taking care of the football. These talking about Matt Flynn, he's a veteran guy. He's been around a long time. He's waited his turn, playing behind Jamarcus Russell, and he's a veteran that they really rely on. And Ryan Perrillou's a guy who's got all the talent and ability in the world and can come in and make some big plays for him.
Well, how about the quarterback lineage here from Rohan Davey to Jamarcus Russell? Here's Matt Flynn, and if Flynn is a designated starter, you take a look at their numbers. Looks Perilou is the more accurate thrower. They both have nice touchdown to interception ratios, Joe. And you look at combined second in the Football Bowl subdivision. But as you suggested, both of them run the football well, and Matt Flynn is an excellent runner when he gets out on the edge.
Yeah, they're both very athletic quarterbacks. They are what you say, a dual threat quarterback. They're a threat to run, beat you with the run and the pass, especially in the red zone. You know, they're quick to tuck the ball. They even design some plays for them to run the ball in there.
Yeah, we're going to find out a little bit later on, maybe too, when we hear from Vernon Golston and the little animal, James Laurinaitis, about Ohio State's defensive packages and do they have to change concepts when Les Miles is going to the alternating quarterbacks. But for right now, let's continue on with the LSU offense. The receiving corps is headed by Early Doucette. And Early Doucette, Joe Germain, is a flat-out game breaker. Brandon LaFell and Demetrius Byrd are guys that complement Doucette. But when Doucette was hurt this year, their productivity fell off.
Yeah, he is kind of their key guy. That's the guy that they go to when they need a big play. They really rely on him. He leads the team in receptions. You talk about Demetrius Byrd, 18 yards per catch, that's huge. He's kind of their big play guy, but look for Early Doucette, the guy that they like to get the ball to.
Joe, from the quarterbacking perspective, if you're Matt Flynn and Ryan Perilou, when you have this talented stable of receivers, did you feel that gave you an edge in a way you could attack defenses that they couldn't sit on one in particular?
Absolutely. I was fortunate to play with a guy like David Boston who got a lot of attention, and rightly so. But we had another guy by the name of D. Miller, who had huge numbers for us, just for the sake of guys trying to honor David Boston and take him away from the game.
What do you say we head to the running backs now, right? And, of course, when Chris Beanie Wells, the Akron Garfield product, is on a football field, everybody holds their breath. Jacob Hester is the guy in terms of this football offense and running the football. You see Williams, the backup here, Keelan Williams. Keelan Williams and Trindon Holiday, they're the change of pace guys. But Jacob Hester, 5 yards a carry. He's tough tackle to tackle, Joe. He's a young man that, here he is right here. He likes to deliver blows on defensive backs.
He is. He's very physical. He likes to demoralize the defenses. And he really is kind of the personality of this LSU team. He's one of the leaders, guys that they look to kind of set the tone for the game and expect him to touch the ball a lot today.
Absolutely. As we said, the change of pace guys, Keelan Williams and Trindon Holiday. Holiday is the diminutive back. He's the pony back. Excellent return guy. About 5'5", 160 pounds. But, make no mistake, Joe, it's a diversified offense. But you know what? Ohio State athletically can run sideline to sideline well enough, I think, that maybe, as a lot of SC teams have, that Flynn and Perilou don't continue to hurt you all night out on the edges.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about the speed. I guess we'll find out tonight, but Ohio State's defense has lots of speed. Talk about Laurinaitis and Golston, who we'll probably touch on later. They can run sideline to sideline. Hopefully, they don't get big gashes on them tonight.
It's going to be necessary to be able to show that superior athleticism to, as we said, try to curtail this very potent Louisiana State offense. Hey, don't go away. FSN Live, BCS National Championship game. Showing James Laurinaitis, Vernon Golston, and this Ohio State defense. They want to tame Tigers. That's the bottom line here tonight. They know they need a premium performance if Ohio State's going to hoist a national championship trophy. We delve into that when we come back. Don't you go anywhere. FSN Live at the BCS National Championship continues in a moment.